I died choking on my own blood. The sterile tang of hospital air turning metallic as my vision blurred into the judgmental faces of my children, Ethan, with his predatory grin, and Sophia, her eyes cold as the diamond necklace I'd bought her for her sweet 16. They weren't there to hold my hand. They were there to carve up my empire like vultures on roadkill. "Mom, sign this," Ethan had whispered, shoving papers under my foredripped arm, his voice smooth as the bourbon we'd shared on better days. But I knew better. Even in my final gasps, I saw the forgery in their eyes. The plot to declare me incompetent and seize the $15 million estate I'd clawed from nothing. The last thing I remembered was the crash of the gurney against the ICU door. My lawyer's frantic call echoing in my ears. "Alexis. The transfer's complete, it's airtight." Then blackness. A void colder than a Manhattan winter, swallowing me whole.
But death,
it turns out, is just another bad investment. Temporary if you're lucky enough to wake up swinging. I jolted awake in my silk sheets, heart hammering like a jackhammer on Fifth Avenue asphalt, the familiar hum of my alarm clock piercing the dawn. Sunlight sliced through the penthouse blinds of my Upper East Side apartment, casting golden bars across the duvet that smelled of lavender and fresh starts. My hands smooth, unscarred, the veins not yet bulging from years of boardroom battles, gripped the fabric. I was 38 again. Not the withered husk of 58, tubes snaking from my arms like accusations. No. This was the body of Alexis Harper before the betrayals piled up like unpaid invoices, before the divorce that gutted me, before the accident that landed me in the ER with a fractured skull and a fabricated overdose narrative courtesy of my own blood. I stumbled to the mirror, my reflection staring back like a ghost from a forgotten draft. Same sharp cheekbones, the ones that had made tabloid photographers swoon during my tech startup's IPO. Same auburn hair, not yet streaked with the gray of endless depositions. But my eyes, God. Those eyes, they burned with the fire of 2 decades stolen. Futures rewritten in ink that wasn't mine. "This is real," I whispered, tracing the faint laugh lines that hadn't deepened into canyons yet. The date on my phone confirmed it. June 15th, 2005. 20 years before the end. Before Ethan and Sophia turned my legacy into their lottery ticket. The weight of it hit me like a freight train through the Holland Tunnel. I'd been poisoned, slowly, methodically, by the very people I'd raised to conquer the world. It started with helpful supplements from Sophia's wellness guru, escalated to tampered meds during my recovery from that suspicious fall down the brownstone stairs. Ethan, the golden boy lawyer, had greased the palms of the right judges, whispering about my declining mental state while siphoning funds into offshore accounts. They'd waited until I was bedridden, then swooped in with power of attorney, contesting every will I'd redrafted. My $15 million empire, Harper Innovations, the app that revolutionized remote work before Zoom, was a whisper, reduced to scraps for their Hamptons weekends and Birkin bags. But not this time. This time, I had the advantage of hindsight, sharper than any prenup clause. I laughed, a raw, jagged sound that echoed off the marble floors. Revenge wasn't a dish best served cold. It was a hostile takeover, executed with precision and a smile. First things first, secure the assets. I grabbed my BlackBerry, God, how quaint, and dialed my lawyer,
Markus Halle,
the one man who'd stuck by me through the divorce from Richard. That snake oil salesman who'd charmed his way into my bed and out with half my patents. "Marcus, it's Alexis. We need to talk trusts."
Now.
My voice was steady, laced with the authority that had once silenced venture capitalists in smoke-filled rooms. He chuckled, assuming it was another paranoid whim. "Alexis, it's barely 7. What's got you riled?" I leaned into the receiver, the city waking below me like a beast stirring. "Everything. And nothing. Just make sure the revocable living trust is ironclad offshore. Layered. With clauses that trigger if I so much as sprain an ankle. No family overrides. We're talking Gibraltar. Not just Delaware." By noon, I'd showered off the phantom hospital chill, slipped into a power suit, Armani, nipped at the waist like it was made for war, and strode into the Harper Innovations office on Madison Avenue. The space was a hive of youthful energy, coders hunched over glowing screens, the air buzzing with the promise of disruption. Back then, we were the darlings of Silicon Alley, our remote collaboration software a godsend for freelancers dodging the commute. I paused at my glass-walled office, watching my team, loyal ghosts from a future they'd never see. There was Lena, the intern who'd become my CFO, her ambition a spark I needed to fan. And Jamal, the lead dev, whose quiet genius I'd overlooked in my first life until it was too late. "Ethan? Sophia?" I called out, spotting them in the break room, all of 16 and 14, respectively, Ethan nursing a Red Bull, Sophia scrolling her flip phone with that bored entitlement I'd foolishly nurtured. They looked up, surprise flickering before morphing into practice charm.
Mom.
"You're early," Ethan said, slinging an arm around my shoulders like we were in some Hallmark reel. Sophia hugged me, her perfume cloying Chanel No. 5. A gift I'd given her last Christmas in another timeline. We sat for breakfast, avocado toast and oat milk lattes, the height of 2005 hipsterdom, and I studied them like evidence in a deposition. Ethan, already plotting his law school path, eyes darting to my briefcase as if it held the keys to kingdom. Sophia, the budding influencer before influencers were a thing, twirling her hair and complaining about private school drama. They were mine, flesh of my flesh. But beneath the innocence lurked the seeds of avarice I'd planted with every trust fund deposit, every your special pep talk. "Tell me about your dreams," I said, sipping my coffee black, the bitterness a preview of truths to come. Ethan launched into his vision of corporate law, mergers and acquisitions, harmless then, but I'd seen how he'd acquire my soul. Sophia gushed about fashion design, Paris runways, the gloss that hid her later schemes with friends who were really enablers. I nodded,
Smiled.
but inside, I catalogued Ethan's tell, a slight twitch when money was mentioned. Sophia's evasion, her gaze sliding away from direct questions. That afternoon, I dove into the books, poring over financials with a forensic eye the old me had lacked. Harper Innovations was valued at $50 million on paper, but whispers of embezzlement nagged, small at first, like the $10,000 consulting fee to Richard's shell company. In my first life, I'd ignored it, chalking it up to growing pains. Now, I cross-referenced receipts, my fingers flying over the keyboard like a pianist at Carnegie Hall. By evening, I'd flagged irregularities, transfers to accounts linked to Richard's brother, the shady accountant who'd advised me into bankruptcy. Richard,
My ex.
the charming venture capitalist who'd swept into my life at a TechCrunch mixer. All Ivy League polish and promises of partnership. We'd built Harper together, or so I thought, until the boardroom coup, where he painted me as the unstable visionary, too emotional for the C-suite. The divorce left me with scraps. Him with the patents that made him a billionaire. And our kids?
Pawns in his game.
Groomed to resent the mother who'd abandoned them for work. I confronted him that night over dinner at Le Bernardin. The seafood a farce of civility. Richard, the books are off. Explain the Cayman transfers. He laughed. That disarming baritone, clinking his wine glass. Alexis, darling, it's all above board. Tax strategies. For us. For the kids. His hand brushed mine, electric with false affection. But I saw the flicker, the same one he'd flashed before slashing my equity in half. We argued in hushed tones amid the clatter of silverware, the elite diners oblivious to the fracture lines. You're paranoid, he accused, eyes narrowing. Always have been. That's why the board. Save it. I cut him off. Voice like steel wool. I'm auditing everything. And if I find one whiff of fraud, you'll wish you'd stuck to flipping startups. He blanched. Just a fraction. But it was enough. As I stormed out into the humid June night, the city lights blurring with unshed tears, I vowed, this time, I'd dismantle him brick by brick. Starting with the kids. Back home, I tucked them in, Ethan with a story about underdog CEOs, Sophia with sketches of her designs. Their hugs were warm, untainted.
Yet.
I love you both, I whispered, throat tight. Lies? Maybe. But truth was a luxury I couldn't afford.
Not yet.
The next weeks blurred into a frenzy of fortification. I rewrote my will daily, layering protections like Kevlar, irrevocable trusts in the kids' names, but with clawback clauses tied to performance metrics, grades, ethics pledges, community service. No more blank checks for entitlement. Marcus balked at first. Alexis. They're minors. This borders on conditional love. I shot him a look that could curdle cream. Better conditional than confiscated. At work, I mentored harder. Poaching talent from competitors. Securing patents with NDAs tighter than a Senate filibuster. Lena got a raise and equity, Jamal, a corner office. Richard noticed. Of course, his surprise visits turning interrogative. You're changing?
Lex.
What's with the fortress mentality? Saccharine. Just ensuring our legacy.
Dear.
But the dreams came. Vicious flashbacks to the end. The ICU beeps. Ethan's forged signature on my DNR. Sophia's whisper. She always was dramatic. Fists clenched. The penthouse a cage of what-ifs. One night, after a nightmare where they danced on my grave, I slipped into their rooms, watching them sleep. Angels or demons, time would tell. By month's end, the first crack appeared. A school counselor called. Ethan caught bullying a classmate over lunch money. He's under pressure, she said. Pressure? At 16? In my first life. I'd smoothed it over with donations.
Now.
I marched into the principal's office. Ethan slouched beside me. Apologize. And volunteer 50 hours at the shelter. Or no Xbox for a year. His face twisted shock. Then sullen acceptance. Sophia, overhearing, rolled her eyes. Mom, you're so intense. Intense? I'd show them intense. The real storm was brewing. Richard's brother. Uncle Victor. The accountant with the weak chin and weaker morals. I'd uncovered his role in the original embezzlement, $200K siphoned for family vacations that never included me. Confrontation loomed, a powder keg in Brooks Brothers wrapping. As summer heat thickened the air, I felt the shift, the city pulsing with opportunity and threat. Revenge wasn't just payback, it was rebirth. And Alexis Harper, version 2.0, was armed to the teeth. The Hamptons retreat was supposed to be our annual reset, white sands, crashing waves, the illusion of family unbroken. But in 2005, it was my first chess move in a game 20 years long. Richard had booked the sprawling estate on Further Lane, all infinity pools and wraparound decks. The kind of excess that screamed, "We've made it," while whispering at what cost. I arrived with the kids in the Range Rover. Top down, wind whipping our hair like freedom's cruel joke. Ethan blasted Jay-Z from the speakers, Sophia snapping Polaroids of the passing vineyards. For a moment, I let myself pretend this was normal. This was salvageable. But normalcy shattered that first evening, over grilled lobster and roes that tasted like regret. Uncle Victor lumbered in late, his paunch straining against a polo shirt, carrying a briefcase that screamed, "Bad news in spreadsheets." Richard clapped him on the back.
Too hearty.
"Vic's here to go over the family finances. Make sure we're optimized for the big push." Optimized. Code for hide the skeletons. I excused the kids to the beach bonfire, teens and esmores, a distraction as old as time, and cornered Victor in the study. The oceans roar a mocking underscore. "Show me the ledgers." "All of them." He blinked, sweat beading on his brow like dew on a guilty conscience. "Alexis, it's routine. Tax stuff." I snatched the briefcase, flipping it open on the mahogany desk. Pages spilled, wire transfers to Shell Corp in the Caymans, invoices for consulting that trace back to Richard's poker buddies. $150,000 gone.
Poof.
Into the ether of business expenses. "You slimy bastard," I hissed, voice low enough not to carry over the waves. "This isn't optimization, it's theft. From me. From the company I built." Victor stammered, his jowls quivering. "It was Richard's idea for the kids' futures. College funds. You know. Futures." The word twisted like a knife. In my first life, I'd bought the lie, signing off on audits that buried the truth under layers of legalese.
Now,
I saw it clear, the foundation of their betrayal, sown in summer salt air. Richard burst and then, sensing the chill. "What's this?" Victor babbled excuses. I held up a damning receipt, my hand steady as a surgeon's. "Your brother-in-law's been playing Robin Hood with my profits." "Explain." The room crackled, tension thick as fog off the Atlantic. Richard's charm faltered, replaced by that boardroom steel. "Alexis, you're overreacting. It's aggressive accounting. For growth." Growth for whom? His yacht fund. By the looks of the yacht club dues buried in the expenses. We argued until the stars wheeled overhead, voices rising like the tide. "You're turning this into a witch hunt," he roared, face flushed. The kids wandered in, drawn by the noise, Ethan wide-eyed, Sophia clutching her camera like a shield. "Mom?
Dad."
Her voice was small, cracking the dam. I turned,
Forcing calm.
"Go back to the fire." Loves adult talk. But the seed was planted, doubt in their eyes, the first fracture in our facade. That night, alone on the deck, salt spray stinging my cheeks, I plotted. No messy divorce yet, that came later, after the IPO fallout. Instead, I'd play the long game, install hidden cams in the office, hire a PI on Richard's tail, and most crucially, bond with the kids. Show them the woman they'd one day destroy. Make the betrayal sting deeper when it came. The next days were a masterclass in manipulation, mine. For once. Mornings with Ethan, paddleboarding off the dock, where I'd drop casual wisdom about ethics and law. Power isn't taking, it's building. Son. Leave no one behind. He'd nod, water dripping from his hair. But I'd catch the calculation in his gaze. The mirror of his father's ambition. Afternoons with Sophia, sketching on the porch. Me praising her flair while weaving in tales of self-made women. Design for yourself, not the applause. Authenticity sells. She'd beam. But her questions probed. Why do you and Dad fight so much? I'd hug her, deflecting. Love's messy. Like couture, needs alterations. Evenings. Family games, Monopoly. Ironically, where I'd let them win small. Teaching strategy without the ruthlessness Richard modeled. Victor slunk away early, tail between his legs. After I suggested he resign as accountant. Richard seethed in private calls. But publicly, he played the doting husband, his touches lingering like IOUs. One stormy afternoon, as thunder rattled the shutters, Sophia found me in the library, poring over Victor's ledgers by flashlight, power out, atmosphere ripe for confession.
Mom.
Are we okay? Like, financially? Her vulnerability hit like lightning. In the future, she'd weaponize worry. But here?
Pure.
I pulled her close, the scent of her sunscreen and sea mingling with my resolve. We're more than okay.
Soft.
But money's a tool, not the treasure. Promise me you'll remember that. She nodded, solemn. Ethan, eavesdropping from the hall, lingered a beat too long. The retreat ended with 4 smiles and a promise of more weekends like it. Back in the city, I escalated, froze the suspicious accounts via Marcus, who whistled at the scope.
Jesus.
Alexis, this is Watergate level. I laughed bitterly. More like Family Feud. At work, I launched an internal audit, masked as efficiency review, rooting out Richard's cronies. Lena caught wind, her loyalty blooming. Whatever you're doing,
Boss.
I'm in. But the real test came mid-July, Richard's birthday gala at the plaza. Black ties schmoozing with VCs and celebs. I arrived on his arm, a vision in crimson silk, but my clutch held a USB drive of evidence, insurance against his inevitable pushback. The ballroom glittered, champagne flutes clinking like conspiracies. Ethan, in his first tux, schmoozed awkwardly with a tech air. Sophia twirled on the dance floor, drawing eyes. Pride swelled, tainted by foreknowledge. Midway through, Richard pulled me aside, breath hot with scotch. Call off the dogs.
Lex.
Victor's family.
Family.
The word curdled. Family doesn't steal. Richard. It protects. His eyes darkened, the mask slipping. You think you're untouchable? The board's whispering. Your instability, late nights, paranoia. A chill slithered down my spine, the echo of my downfall. Try me, I whispered, pressing the USB into his palm. One leak, and this goes public. He crumpled it later. I knew, but the seed of fear took root. The kids noticed the chill between us, their questions sharpening. Is Dad moving out? Ethan cornered me one night, voice cracking. I knelt, meeting his gaze. Not if we fight for this. Together. He hugged me fierce. And for a heartbeat, I believed redemption possible. August brought heat waves and heat checks. Sophia's birthday. A yacht party on the Hudson. I gifted her a custom sketchbook, inscribed, "Create your empire, not inherit it." She teared up.
Genuine.
Ethan got a law internship at a firm I vetted, ethical, pro bono heavy. Richard boycotted, citing work, but sent a check, petty warfare. Then the first real backlash, a leaked email to the board. Harper's CEO unstable, erratic decisions. My paranoia vindicated. I traced it to Victor's IP. Confronted Richard in our bedroom. The Manhattan skyline, an indifferent witness. End this, or I will. He lunged. Not violent, but desperate.
Pinning my wrists.
You're ruining us. The kids heard the crash, Sophia bursting in, screaming. Ethan followed, pulling him off.
Chaos.
Cops called by the doorman.
Notice.
But headlines, tech power couples domestic dust-up. The fallout was biblical. Tabloids feasted. Harper heirloom in heirloom fight. Investors jittered. Stock dipped 5%. But I spun it, press conference. Poised, personal matters aside. Harper Innovations thrives on transparency. The board rallied. Richard isolated. He moved to the guest room, then a hotel. Divorce papers drafted by September. But I delayed, stringing him along. With him reeling, I turned to the kids, therapy sessions masked as family counseling. We're Harpers, I'd say. Resilient. They absorbed it. Or seemed to. Ethan confessed his bullying stemmed from Dad's pressure to win. Sophia admitted envy of my independence. Glimmers of hope. Fragile as spun glass. Yet doubt gnawed. In dreams, their future faces leered. Ethan in court. Perjuring for profit. Sophia selling stories to TMZ. Was I saving them? Or damning myself to repeat the cycle? One crisp fall morning. Walking Central Park. Ethan linked arms. Mom, I want to be like you, not Dad. My heart cracked. Maybe. Just maybe. But autumn winds carried warnings. Richard's lawyer called, demanding assets. Victor vanished. Accounts drained further. The game intensified, my moves bolder. His desperate. I hired security for the penthouse. Installed nanny cams for safety. Sophia found one. Confronted me tearfully. Do you not trust us?
Trust.
The ultimate currency. Devalued by time travel. I trust you, I lied, hugging her. But the world's full of wolves. She pulled away, hurt lingering. Ethan, sensing rift, withdrew into books, good sign? Or plotting? By Halloween, the city in orange blaze. I'd secured 70% of the estate in blind trusts, untouchable. Richard sued for custody, citing my volatility. Court loomed, a gladiatorial ring. I prepped with Marcus, war paint on, red lipstick, power heels. The hearing was a circus, paparazzi flashbulbs like gunfire. Judge eyed me sternly. Mrs. Harper, your stability, I testified. Voice unwavering. I've built an empire while raising 2 exceptional children. Instability is his projection. Richard's turn. Charm offensive. Tears for effect. The kids testified, Ethan neutral. Sophia wavering. Mom's intense. But she loves us. Ruling. Joint custody.
But primary with me.
Richard's face soured. First blood mine. Celebration dinner at Peter Luger. Stakes rare. Like my vengeance. To new beginnings, I toasted. They clinked. Smiles bright. But as jack-o'-lanterns grinned outside, I wondered, how long before the masks cracked? Winter whispered threats, snow dusting the spires, burying secrets deeper.
Richard sabotage jusqu'à la tête. Pushing client.
Bad-mouthing to VCs. Harper stock wobbled. But I countered with innovation, a beta launch that wowed. Valuations soaring. The kids thrived. Ethan aced mocks. Sophia's designs in a teen mag. Yet cracks widened. Anonymous text to me. Watch your back. Family first. Richard's doing? No doubt. I ignored. Focusing on fortification. Life insurance maxed. Beneficiaries shifted to charities if untimely death. Paranoia? Prudence. Thanksgiving loomed. A minefield of turkey and tension. Richard insisted on hosting neutral ground. I agreed. Bugs in my wine glass. The meal was civil. Laughter forced. But post-dinner, in the den,
He cornered me.
this ends. Alexis. Sign the settlement, or the kids suffer. Threat veiled as concern. I smiled. Venom sweet. Hurt them, and you lose everything. He didn't know the half. As snow fell, blanketing sins, I felt the noose tightening, not his, but fate's. Trung's sin was a gift, but gifts corrode if unopened. Time to unwrap the blade. December's chills seeped into my bones like regret, the city transforming into a glittering fortress of denial. Christmas loomed, that obligatory orgy of consumerism masking familial rot. I'd rewritten the script, no joint celebrations with Richard. Instead, a Harper-only gala at the penthouse, tree towering to the tray ceiling, lights twinkling like false stars. Invites went to Lena, Jamal, the team, my chosen family. The kids grumbled at first. What about Dad? Sophia whined, fairy lights reflecting in her eyes. Ethan shrugged. Pragmatic. He's being a jerk anyway. I pulled them aside amid the tinsel chaos. Hot cocoa steaming in mugs. This year's about us. Blood and chosen. No more games. They nodded.
Tentative?
But the shift stuck. Shopping on Fifth, Ethan in a tailored wool coat. Debating ethics over espresso. Sophia in ateliers. Her sketches evolving from trendy to timeless. Moments of purity. Untainted by the future's poison. But Richard wouldn't fade. Gifts arrived, extravagant. Manipulative, a Rolex for Ethan. Couture for Sophia. Diamonds for me with a note. Peace offering. Lex. For the kids. I regifted mine to a shelter auction. The stones cold as his heart. He escalated mid-month. A custody motion. Alleging neglect. She's alienating them, his filing screamed. Court again. Holidays be damned. The hearing was a Yuletide farce. Judge in reindeer tie. My heels clicking like Judgment Day. Richard's lawyer. A slick weasel named Hargrove. Paraded witnesses. Victor. Slimy as ever. Claiming I'd unhinged post-audit. She threatened me. I countered with recordings, his confession on tape. Voice trembling. Blackmail. Hargrove sputtered. Judge. Overruled. Stick to facts. My turn. Experts on my parenting, therapists praising our sessions. School reports glowing. The kids testified via video. Ethan steady. Mom's teaching me right from wrong. Sophia. Teary. Dad's angry all the time. Mom's home. Richard crumbled on cross. I just want involvement. Judge ruled. Full custody to me. Supervised visits. Gavel fell like a carol's end. Richard's rage was operatic. Voicemails deleted but seared in memory. You'll regret this. You bitch. I changed numbers. Up security. The wind tasted bittersweet. The kids hugged me fierce. But Sophia whispered, "Is this forever?" I lied. Only if we choose it. New Year's Eve brought catharsis. Fireworks over the harbor. Champagne toasts with the team. Ethan clinked to empires. Sophia to designs that last. Me, silent vow. As confetti rained, I slipped away to the study, firing off emails, final asset shuffle. $15 million core into a dynasty trust, irrevocable. Kids as beneficiaries only post my death. With veto on dissipation. Marcus. Bulletproof. Good. 2006 dawned ruthless. Harper Innovations boomed. Our app in beta trials. Fortune feature calling me, the remote queen. Richard. Sidelined. Launched a rival startup, Echolink. Poaching my code via insiders. Betrayal's echo. I sued for IP theft. Discovery a gold mine. Emails proving collusion with Victor. Press devoured it. Tech divorce goes nuclear. The kids felt the quake. Ethan, interning at my firm, overheard whispers.
Mom.
Is Dad a bad guy? Over pizza in the kitchen, domino tiles scattered, I leveled. He's flawed. Like us all. But actions define. He pondered. Then, I'll testify if you need. Loyalty's first bloom. Sophia struggled more, sneaking calls to Richard. Returning tear-streaked. He says you're lying about the money. I sat her down. Showed ledger simply. This is theft.
Soft.
From our future. Horror dawned. Then resolve. I believe you. Spring unfurled scandals. Echolink launched buggy. Tanking on reviews. Richard blamed me publicly. Sabotage by X. Countersuit flew. Defamation. Media circus peaked at a gala. Me and Emerald. Him in tails. Air thick with flashbulbs. We reconciled for photos, his grip bruising. Then I whispered, settle. Or the tapes drop. He paled. Nodded. Settlement. He got scraps.
Non compete clause.
Alimony capped. Victor disbarred. Wait.
No.
Accountants don't get that. But blacklisted. Fleeing to Florida. Kids' therapy intensified, unpacking Richard's manipulation. Ethan opened up. He taught me to win at all costs. I countered. Win clean. Summer 2006. Road trip west. Route 66 Redux. Penthouse mothballed. RV rumbling through heartland.
Stops at diners.
National parks, raw America. Unfiltered. Ethan hiked Zion. Debating justice. Sophia sketched Grand Canyon sunsets. Bonds forged in dust and diner pie. This is better than Hamptons, Ethan admitted.
Truth.
But autumn brought shadows. Anonymous threats. Family's secrets die with you. Richard's ghost? Or deeper? I dug. PI uncovering Victor's ties. Not just Richard. But a network. Shady investors who'd funded Harper early. Now demanding payback via backdoors. The accident in my first life? No fall pushed. By a hired thug tied to them. Panic clawed. But I armored. Bodyguards discreet. Home fortified. told the kids partial truth. Business enemies. They rallied Ethan researching laws. Sophia designing, Harper strong, tease for morale. Halloween 2006, trick-or-treat in Brooklyn Heights. Pumpkins grinning. Mid-haunt. Call from Marcus. Intruders caught, your brownstone. Tools for break-in. Hearts seized. Echo of my death. Interrogation. Lowlife named Gino.
Paid by.
Victor. Richard clean? Or puppet? Confrontation. I drove to his midtown Pied a Terra. Storming in like fury. Call off your dogs. Richard. Or the full dossier hits the SEC. He laughed. Broken.
Big Shruga. But you.
You destroyed me.
Pity flickered man unmade.
You self-destructed. Sign the gag order.
He did.
Eyes dead. Peace, fragile. Winter 2006 to 2007. IPO prep consumed us. Harper valued at $200 million. Roadshow grueling. Kids sidelined but proud. Ethan at debates. Sophia's fashion line budding. Richard faded. Visits cordial but distant. Therapy unearthed his abuse. Emotional. Subtle. Gaslighting my instability. One night. Post-show in Chicago. Ethan called. Soft's missing. Said she's with Dad.
Panic.
Tracked to a dive bar. Richard drunk. Her uncomfortable. I arrived. Scene from a Lifetime movie. Get in the car.
Now.
Drive home silent. Then explosion. He said you lied about custody to hurt him.
I pulled over.
Rain lashing. He lies to hurt you. We're done with him. Sophia sobbed. Ethan mediated. Home. Group hug, raw. Real. I choose us, she whispered. Turning point. 2007 bloomed triumphant. IPO smashed records, $250M raise. Me billionaire on paper. Parties. Profiles. Alexis Harper, unbreakable. But hubris?
No.
I diversified. Trusts ballooned to $15 million liquid. Charities seeded. Kids' futures locked, education funds. But with strings, integrity clauses. Richard's final play, suicide attempt. Nope blaming me. Media frenzy. I visited hospital. Him pale. Forgive.
No. Heal.
For them. He entered rehab. Out of our lives. Spring equinox. Family vow renewal. Not marriage, us three. Central Park. Harper pact, loyalty.
Truth.
Build. Sealed with blood pricks, dramatic. But binding. Yet whispers persisted. PI report. Gino's boss? Not Victor, a shadow investor. Elias Crow. Early backer with mob ties. The poison? His slow revenge for a bad deal. My first death. His hit. Framed on family. Resolution brewed. I met Crow at his club, Smoky. Old boys. Settle the score? He smirked. Or what? Exposure. You're laundering through my app. Bluff. Half. He backed off. Deal struck. Silence for silence. Summer 2007. Yacht. Ours now in Mediterranean. Kids golden. Me vigilant. But Sophia's sketchbook held a drawing, me falling downstairs. Nightmare, she said. Prophetic? Autumn harvest. Threats ceased. But vigilance eternal. Ethan to college scout, Harvard beckons. Sophia's show, sold out. Thanksgiving, table full.
No ghosts.
Toasts to survival. But as snow fell again, a letter arrived, anonymous. The real betrayal's closer.
Kids? No.
Deeper secret. My own past sin. Buried in startup days, a fudged demo. Investor lured by lies. Exposed. It could topple all. Twist's shadow loomed. Revenge or reckoning? 2008 crashed like a bull market hangover. The financial crisis gutting portfolios. But Harper innovation soared, remote work a lifeline in layoffs. My $15 million nest egg? Diversified into gold. Tech bonds. Untouchable. Richard.
Post-rehab.
Remarried a socialite half his age. Fading to footnote. The kids? Thriving facsimiles of potential. Ethan. 19. Yale freshman debating ethics. Sophia. 17. Parsons prodigy with a capsule collection. Surface idol. But undercurrents swirled, the letters echo. The real betrayal's closer. I obsessed. Combing files from Marcus. Startup origins. 1999. When Alexis Harper was a scrappy coder in a Brooklyn loft. Elias Crow had invested $500,000.
But the demo?
Faked metrics. A white lie to hook him. It worked. Harper exploded, but guilt festered. Exposed now. With SEC hawks circling post-Madoff?
Ruin.
Was the letter Crow's revenge?
Or
Family? Thanksgiving frostbite. Dinner at the penthouse. Lena and Jamal as aunts/uncles. Laughter flowed. But my eyes scanned Ethan's phone buzz. Sophia's averted gaze. Post-pie. I cornered them. Anything I should know? Ethan. Exam stress. Sophia. Boy drama. Lies. Scented like Chanel. December deep in digs. PI tailed them. Ethan meeting a shady tutor for cash. Sophia lunching with a mentor, reeking of Richard's circle. Heart sank, history rhyming. Confronted Ethan over eggnog. The money. Son. Whose is it? He crumbled. Loans for a startup idea. Dad connected me. Richard. Worming back. Sophia confessed next. Mentors offering gallery spot for a favor on your old patents. Echoes of theft. I raged internally, but coached, cut ties. Reported. They did. But damage? Trust's hairline fracture. New Year's resolution. Full disclosure therapy. Sessions raw. My faked demo aired. I cheated once. Learned. Integrity or bust. They absorbed. Ethan. Like Dad's lessons. But opposite. Bonding. But the letter nod. January thaw. SEC inquiry. Anonymous tip on early irregularities.
Panic.
Crow? I met him again. Neutral ground. Met rooftop bar. The letter yours? He chuckled. Cigar smoke curling.
No.
Darling. But your sins? They float up. Riddle. Trace tip. IPT Yale, Ethan Storm. Betrayal's blade twisted. Confronted him in his quad. Snow muffling screams. You snitched. Tears. Dad dared me, said it'd force you to share equity. I wanted to prove myself. Rage boiled, my boy. Pawn turned player.
Out. Now. Disowned?
No, rehab for him. Like Richard. Packed his bags. Flight home canceled. Sophia. Horrified. He's like Dad?
Was.
Fixable. Crisis deepened. SEC raided offices. Headlines screaming, Harper fraud probe. Stock plunged 40%. Investors fleeing. Board panicked. Step down. Alexis. I fought, presser defiant. One old shortcut. We've self-reported. Transparent. But whispers, resignation or jail. Kids rallied, Sophia viral campaign. Harper Truth. Sketches of resilient women. Ethan. Grounded. Interned unpaid. Make it right. Mom. Glimmers. February blizzard buried secrets. Interrogations. My demo lie. But mitigated. Restitution offered. Crow testified. Against? No, for. In exchange for dropped laundering probe. Deals devil. Trial loomed, grand jury. Prep war room. Penthouse. Whiteboards of alibis. Richard surfaced. Offering help. Settle with SSC. I get bored seat. Venom.
Rot.
March verdict. No charges, my cooperation.
Clean books since.
Relief tsunami. Stock rebounded. But scars? Eternal. Ethan returned summer. Contrite. 100 hours community. Startup scrapped. I get it now, legacies earned. Sophia designed anti-fraud teas. Build true. Spring renewal. Family retreat. Adirondacks cabin, no tech. Just trails. Hikes unearthed truths. Ethan's resentment of my absence. Richard spin. Sophia's fear of failure. You made us strong, I admitted. Pact renewed. But summer scorched illusions. Sophia's show, triumph. But backstage. A note in her dressing room. Tell Mom the truth or else. Her truth? She'd known of Richard's schemes longer, overheard. Hid for peace. Confrontation lakeside. Why? Scared you'd hate me. Hate? No, therapy again. Deeper cuts lanced. Ethan's revelation, the tutor? Victor's cousin. Probing for dirt. Chained to Crow.
But snapped.
PI confirmed. Crow pulling strings. Using kids as levers. Final play. I leaked his ties, NYT expose. Shadow investor exposet. Feds swarmed. Crow fled. Assets frozen. Autumn 2008. Harvest of justice. Harper stabilized. Me knighted crisis queen. Kids matured, Ethan law track. Pro bono focus. Sophia ethical fashion line. Richard? Bankrupt. Socialite fled. Visited once. Proud of their choices. Not yours. Thanksgiving grace. Table philosophies. Not fights. Gratitudes, warmth thawed old chills. 2009 bloomed cautious. Global slump lingered. But Harper pivoted, acquisitions. Expansions. $15 million trust? Grown to $20 million. Clauses tighter. Psych evals for access. Yet paranoia persisted. Dreams. I see you again. Kids' faces twisted. Awake. I'd check locks. Emails. One night. Anonymous call. The betrayal's blood. Kids asleep. Whose? Dug deeper. DNA test. Impulse. Curiosity on Richard's fidelity. Results. Sophia. Not his.
Mean it?
A fling. 1990s coder crush. One night post-breakup. Secret buried. But letter?
New?
Confronted mirror. Tell her?
Destroy?
Decided wait.
Protect.
Summer 2009. Europe tour. Paris.
Rome.
Sophia's runways. Ethan's moot courts. Joy unadulterated. Almost. Fall crisis. Board coup insiders. Richard plants? No, my old lie resurfacing. Twisted. Emergency meeting. Ousted? Fought. Proxies loyal. Won. But Pyrrhic, Resigned CEO. Chair Emerita. Rage. Who leaked? Trace to Lena. Jealous? No. Blackmailed by Crow remnants. Fired her. Heart heavy. Chosen fallible. Winter solstice. Rock bottom. Penthouse empty. Kids at school. Drank scotch. First time since death. Dialed therapist. Am I the villain? Survivors aren't saints. 2010 dawn. Reinvention. Advisory role. New ventures. Women's tech fund. Kids home. Ethan. We'll build back. Sophia. Your story inspires. But Letter's ghost confronted Sophia gently. Your father. Tears. Hugs. Doesn't change us. Relief. Ethan's turn. Confessed Yale snitch full. Richard paid. But regret real. Forgave. Conditions distance. Richard's endgame. Lawsuit for alienation, claiming I turned kids. Dismissed his history damning. Spring 2010 bloom. Fund launched. $50 million raised. Harper thrived under new CEO, my protege.
Jamal.
Summer heat. Family vow. Third time. Unbreakable. Yet tension simmered. Anonymous email. Photo me. 1990s. With Sophia's biodad. Blackmail setup.
Metschender, Chino.
The thug. Out on bail. Crow sends regards. Final thread. Orchestrated sting. Feds waiting. Arrest. Confession. Crow orchestrated all, from early threats to poison plot, laced vitamins. Future echo. But kids? Innocent pawns. Justice cascade. Crow extradited. Empire crumbled. Autumn 2010. Harvest peace. $15 million secure. Legacy intact. Thanksgiving. Full circle. Toasts to truths faced. But as snow fell, a new letter. Your biggest secret? The Trungsen.
Impossible.
Who knew? Twist's horizon darkened. Revenge complete? Or just beginning? 2011 ushered in uneasy equilibrium. The city shedding winter's husk like an old skin. Harper Innovations had stabilized under Jamal's steady hand, valuations climbing back to pre-crisis highs. My advisory role of velvet exile, enough influence to steer without the daily grind. The $15 million trust? A fortress now. $25 million strong. With the kids as stewards. Not heirs, philanthropy mandates woven in like steel threads. Ethan. 21. Yale Jr. Interning at the UN Global Justice Aspire. Sophia. 19. Parsons Sr. Her line in Bergdorf's windows. Eco fabrics, a quiet revolution. Surface. Triumph. Underneath, the letters phantom. Your biggest secret? The Trungsen. A joke? Or breach from beyond? I dismissed it at first, paranoia's old friend, but vigilance spiked. Changed passcodes. Swept for bugs. Even consulted a tech whisperer for digital ghosts. Nothing. Yet the words haunted. A glitch in my reset reality. Who could know? Death's echo. Mocking. Spring confetti. Ethan's moot court win. Paris trip reward. We dined Eiffelside. Escargot and confessions. Mom. I dug into Dad's old cases, he said. Wine loosening tongues. Victor wasn't alone. Crow pulled strings. Even back then. Old news. But his eyes, probing. You always seemed. Ahead.
Chill.
Deflected. Mother's intuition. He smiled. But doubt lingered. Sophia joined mid-trip. Runway show a smash. Backstage. Amid sequins, she gifted a scarf, my design. Reborn. For the woman who rewove our threads. Hugged tight. But her whisper. I found an old journal, yours? From '05. Talks like you knew the future. Heart stopped. The journal, my ramblings.
på中心
Hidden in attic. Misread. Love. Fiction sketches. Lie tasted ash. Summer swelter amplified unease. Penthouse felt cage. Security rotations. PI on kids' shadows. Ethan summered in D.C. Policy internship. Sophia in L.A. Collabs. Calls daily. Laced with normalcy. But one night, Ethan, Mom. Weird dream. You in hospital. Us fighting. Echo. Nightmares pass.
His laugh forced.
Richard resurfaced. Letter from prison. Crow trial fallout. Accessory. Alexis. The kids deserve truth. About your gift. Prison?
How?
Traced. Forged. But postmark DC. Ethan zip. Confronted via video. Face pale.
I.
Researched. Hypnosis tapes. You talking in sleep during visits.
中心 Stiffy.
But. Rage. Delete it.
All.
He swore. But trust? Shattered glass. Sophia next. LA package, my journal. Annotated. Mom. This reads like prophecy. The fall. The poison.
How?
Panic call. Stole from attic? Why? Found it cleaning. Dad mentioned secrets once. Thought it was story. Richard's poison.
Seeping.
Family summit. Adirondacks again. Leaves turning bloody. Air thick with accusation. I died. I confessed. Voice cracking over campfire. Poisoned by Crow's men. Betrayed by. Influences. Woke up here. To fix it. Silence. Then Ethan's logic. Impossible. Sophia's empathy. But explains everything your changes. Debate raged. Delusion? Gift? They believed. Fractionally. Hugged me. Whatever. We love you. But fracture. Ethan researched quantum theories. Past lives. Cool if true. But dangerous. Sophia sketch scenes me reborn. Phoenix. Art therapy? Fall fast. Crow's trial.
Spectacle.
I testified. Dismantling his web, laundering via apps. Hits on rivals. Verdict, life. Gino flipped. Details gruesome. The fall staged. Vitamins dose slow. Kids watched coverage. Faces ashen. We almost lost you, Sophia whispered. Ethan, twice. Thanksgiving tension. Table truths. No more secrets, I vowed. They shared. Ethan's Yale hack, minor. But confessed. Sophia's hidden affair. Ended. Clean slate? 2012 bloomed bold. Ethan graduated. Clerkship offer, Supreme Court path. Sophia's line, CFDA award. Me, memoir ghosted. Reboot, a tech life, sanitized, no rebirth. Bestseller. Irony thick. But shadows lengthened.
Anonymous vid. Me. på中心
Muttering dates in sleep. Uploaded? No, private. But to whom? Traced to Richard's old phone. In Sophia's bag. I kept it for memories, she cried. Deleted. But breach real. Richard's final act. Suicide. Note. Alexis 1. Kids. She's not who you think. Overdose.
Clean.
Funeral sparse. Us 3. Rain lashing. Ethan, his demons. Sophia. Ours too. I held them. Not anymore. Grief unearthed. My fling. Sophia's dad. Told her. Gentle. Doesn't change blood. She met him. Artist. Kind closure. 2013. Empire expansion. Harper Global. $1 billion valuation. Kids board seats. Advisory. Earned. Trust at $30 million. Charities thriving. Yet the hook. Another letter. Post Richard.
Chúng sinh sợ Thais, iso lại tin.
Loneliness? Or warning? Summer crisis. Ethan engaged fiancé. Ambitious lawyer. Vetted clean. Wedding planning. Joy laced out. Sophia. Pregnant? No. Career pause. Sabbatical. Time to reflect. Fall harvest. Wedding in Hamptons ironic.
Vau se hoed mine.
But toast. Ethan's. Sly. To second chances. Eyes met new. Post-honeymoon.
Ko, Mom.
The research. It's real. Quantum entanglement. Echoes. Conspiracy? Or acceptance. 2014. Legacy lock. Will finalized. $15M core to foundation. Kid stewards.
Build.
Don't hoard. But twist uncoiled. Sophia's journal entry. Found. Mom's story. Inspired my novel.
Chúng sinh the venture.
Published? No. Private. But leak. Manuscript online. Viral. Fiction or fact? Harper's secret. Media storm. Interviews demanded.
Metaphor ispor.
But believers swarmed cultish. Probing. Kids defended. Ethan op-ed. Mother's myth. Strength in story. Sophia illustrations. Empowering. Resolution? Partial. Faded. But bond iron. 2015, 20th anniversary. Penthouse party. Intimate. Toasts. To lives rewritten. Yet final hook. Mirror gaze, faint lines. Time creeping.
Chúng sinh finit.
Death's whisper. Decade's end. Ethan partner. Sophia CEO, her line empire. Me, philanthropist. Quiet power. 2025 loomed, ICU date. But changed. Health pristine. No fall.
Trust intact.
$50 million. Betrayal's ghost? Exorcised. Kids' faces. Love. Not avarice. One night. Dream void. But light. Children's laughter. Woke smiling. Revenge? Not destruction, redemption. They arrived not with documents, but deeds. Foundation launches. Named for me. Legacy, not seized, but shared. Alexis Harper. Reborn victor. Epilogue hook, new letter. My hand, ready for round 3? Fade to black, life's endless reboot.